I lay yesterday's debacle wholly and solely at your door.
You know why she ran away?
She ran to hide her head in shame because her husband's sister is a putana.
I know what I'm doing. I was Queen Bee around here for years, and I'll be Queen Bee again. I have no intention of giving up that title to a gutless contender like Claire O'Donnell.
Aha, we haven't retired.
Well, retired be damned.
When he heard what happened, he broke off the engagement. I'm afraid she no longer has a fiancé.
Oh, poor girl.
Also, she came here to get married. And if she doesn't get married, she'll be deported.
What do you think you're doing?
But, Mrs. Davidson, it's buy-up day.
Put all that stuff away. There will be no privileges for prisoners until further notice.
Right. Everything ready for the buy-up?
Mrs. Jackson, you are aware that I have cancelled all privileges. That includes the buy-up.
Yes, but they're so used to it.
When I say all privileges, I mean all privileges. Well, what are you waiting for? Mrs. Jackson, I'd like a word with you. I understand Mr. Wilson was in this morning.
Yes.
You knew why he was here?
Yes, I did.
And you admitted him?
That's right.
Knowing he has already had one visit with Travers this week.
Look, he's here trying to help Irene Zervos. And Karen's the only one in the prison with even a smattering of Greek.
Nevertheless, you have contravened the rule of allowing one visitor per prisoner per week.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson, but he was really seeing Irene Zervos, not Karen. And I do believe Irene needs the help.
Your function is to assist me in the administration of this prison, and that means sticking by the rules I make. Do you understand me?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Getting so touchy lately, isn't she?
I suggest we put all this stuff away.
That's lovely, Auntie.
Got you bluffed, hasn't she? She's got everybody thinking she's kingpin. Oh, let her. Let the brainless tarts follow her. I'll see it my way when I'm ready. I wouldn't hang by me thumbs, love. Oh, hello. Anybody here smell olive oil? Oh, nothing personal, love. I just must be feeling a bit off. Must be coming down with a wog.
If you weren't so contemptible, you'd be totally pathetic. How would you like it if you were faced with the possibility of being deported?
Ah, good riddance.
You don't understand. Irene came out here to get married. Now it looks as if she's going to be sent back.
Serve her right. If she's stupid enough to go on the game and get caught, she's got to take what's coming to her. Why'd the stupid cow do it anyway?
I don't know. I haven't been able to get through to her well enough to find out.
If ever you do, just tell her to keep out of my way. I've had enough of her kind outside.
Clara, you're supposed to have some control.
I hope so.
Well, then get Monica off Irene's back, will you?
That's a good idea, Tinkerbell. Why don't you sort money out? Show her who's boss around here. Have you done your timesheets?
Yes, did them this morning.
Well, efficiency seems to be contagious, doesn't it?
Sorry?
Well, even our worthy governor seems to be getting her act together.
I think she's overdoing it, overreacting.
Oh, I don't care what she's reacting to. It's about time this place was run as a prison and not a holiday camp.
So out of character for her, though.
What, doing her job properly, you mean?
Reception. Yes, Mrs. Davidson. Excuse me, Miss Bennett. The governor would like to see you and the duty staff in her office straight away, please.
Well, here we go. More of the get tough policy.
Thank you for coming so promptly. I have some news for you which may slightly disrupt the running of the prison for the next few days.
Why? What's wrong, Mrs. Davidson?
Well, I don't know that anything is wrong, really. In a way, I suppose it was to be expected. I have been notified that the department is appointing a visiting justice to investigate the running of the prison.
Because of the barbecue?
The letter merely refers to various incidents.
After all, the list's as long as your arm.
I'm sure some of you know Mr. Goodwin, the stipendiary magistrate. He has been appointed the visiting justice.
Oh, he seems a fairly reasonable sort of a chap.
Yes. Of course, he will want to question all the officers. I hope we are all agreed in our attitudes when the time comes to speak to Mr. Goodwin. I wouldn't want to confuse any of the issues he may have under investigation. We will also have to advise the prisoners that the visiting justice is coming and tell them of their rights.
They don't deserve any.
Whether you like it or not, Miss Bennet, they have rights. And I suggest we tell the prisoners they can appeal to the justice about any part of prison procedure and about any disciplinary action which they consider excessive. That is all, ladies. Thank you.
I suppose this may mean a few changes, Mrs. Davidson?
Poor Erica. Having this investigation right on top of that barbecue mess.
Couldn't be better timed, in my opinion.
Oh, come on, Vera. You can see what a position it puts her in.
What about yourself?
Me?
There are certain advantages in being deputy governor, you know.
What are you talking about?
Well, if I were to be governor, you'd be the most logical choice to be deputy governor.
I don't want promotion if it means having to sacrifice Erica.
Don't worry, Meg. You won't have to do a thing. And let me tell you, once I'm governor of this prison, things are going to be run very, very differently.
Oh, boy, can you smell that?
I certainly can.
It's cabbage. I love boiled cabbage.
I think it's revolting.
Yeah. Maybe I just got used to it. Or maybe I got a tapeworm. Yeah, that could be it. I could have a tapeworm.
Oh, I don't think so, love. Tapeworms are choosy.
Oh, Bea, don't be disgusting.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Goddard. I forgot we don't talk about tapeworms here in track, do we? Oh, here comes the little grease spot again. Listen, there's none of you minced up goats in vine leaves here, love. None of that Dago crap today.
Leave her alone.
You keep out of this. Maybe you'd be more at home in a fish and chip shop. Here, or maybe the Olympia Cafe. That's it, Olympia. You know that word, eh? Olympia. Oh, don't give me any of that Dago crap.
That's quite enough. Come on, everybody. Inside. Come on, move along. Not you, Ferguson. I want a word with you.
What do you want?
I suppose you think you're very smart.
Look, if I was that smart, I wouldn't be here.
Play your cards right and you could get out earlier than you expected.
Why?
You've still got 1 month of your sentence to serve. But the parole board meets next week and there's a good chance you'll get a 3 weeks remission.
What's the catch?
Just start treating that Greek girl like a human being and not like an animal.
Oh, look, she doesn't understand a word I'm saying anyway.
All right, if you think it's worth 3 weeks of your time in here to insult her, just keep it up. As I said, the parole board meets next week.
You're not such a bad screw after all.
I'm just suggesting you make it easier on yourself.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm sorry you got hurt the other day. It was an accident.
I'm all right. But you're apologising to the wrong person.
Hey, I thought you were going to stick up for Irene.
Yeah, it's not fair the way Monty's been treating her.
Yeah, why don't you do something about it, Clara?
Oh, wake up to yourselves. Tinkerbell's gutless, aren't you, love?
Just wasn't the right time.
Yeah, never will be.
What about right now?
Oh, I don't think lunchtime's the appropriate time.
Watch her footwork. Watch her footwork.
You're not frightened of me, are you, Clara?
Oh, of course not. It's just as I said, it's a matter of timing. Very well, then.
Very well what?
I will talk to her.
Oh, this I gotta see.
Go on, Clara.
Monica, I have something to say to you.
Yeah?
It's about the way you treat Irene.
Yeah?
I think you're being most unfair to her. She's a stranger in our midst, and she doesn't speak the language. And I think you're being too hard on her.
Oh, you do you?
Yes, I do.
Well, maybe you're right. Sorry about that, kid. Maybe Jay can't be all that bad.
You were terrific, just terrific. It's nothing. It's just a matter of being reasonable, that's all. Geez, I would never have been that game.
Είναι αδερφή σου, πρέπει να την βοηθήσουμε.
Δεν μπορούμε να κάνουμε τίποτα χωρίς να παραδοθούμε στο immigration.
It's completely against regulations for you to be in on this visit.
The governor authorized it.
Yes, well, that's something I'll be taking up with her and with the VJ. Stop that at once.
Θα σε βοηθήσω με αδερφή μου.
Speak in English.
For God's sake, Vera, she only understands about a dozen words of English.
I don't care. It's regulations. Either you speak in English or this visit ends before it begins.
What have we done?
The officer says you have to speak in English or go home.
Why is this?
Because of the rules.
All rules are no hard.
If you don't like the rules, you can go.
You know there was a woman like this woman in our village?
So?
A few years later, the other woman of the village threw stones at her and she ran away.
Well, I'm not going anywhere.
Why?
Ο Νίκος.
No Greek.
It's a man's name, Nikos.
Who is it, this Nikos?
He's a friend of Stavros, the man she used to marry.
And what's he got to do with it?
I don't know now. Nikos is a bad man. He gambles. Why Nikos?
Nikos say, police, you go away.
What's she talking about?
It's a family matter.
We must tell her.
We told your friend, Mr. Wilson. Tessa and I, we come here illegally. No immigration, you understand?
Yes, he told me.
This Nikos, he help us. First we come here. He gives me work. He knows I'm not a legal immigrant.
Nikos say, I know too. He tell police.
He blackmailed her. Well, why didn't you stand by her?
We didn't know about the blackmail. Today, first time we know.
What are you going to do about it?
Please, we don't want to be deported.
What about Irene?
Irene comes on a visa to marry Stavros. But now, he won't marry her.
So she'll be deported.
That will be bad, to go back home.
Her parents. They will not take her back now. Not after this.
Well, you must speak to Stavros. Explain the situation to him. Tell him about the blackmail.
You don't understand. It is not possible he will marry a woman who done what Irene has done.
But she did it to help you.
True, but Stavros, he won't accept this. This is not the way of our country.
Yes, but this is a new country with new ways. Surely he'll help her. Oh, for God's sake, you can't just dump her. She's your sister.
What do we do?
You must go to Mr. Wilson, Mr. Steve Wilson. I'll give you his address. You must tell him the whole story. He'll let you know which authorities you must see.
No. We do not want to talk to any authorities.
You have to do it for Irene's sake.
But they'll send us away.
No, Alekos, he is right. We have been here a long time now. We work hard. We no make trouble. We never belong to this country. This is our chance to see this Mr. Wilson, a lawyer. He will fix it for us to stay here like honest people. Is not so?
I hope so, yes.
Aleko, you must do this for me. For Irene, you must do it.
You do not do the telling. I'll do the telling here. And I say, yes, we must do it.
Oh, thank you.
What? Please, what is?
Your brother Alex will go to a lawyer who can help you.
Θα πάμε σε ένα φίλο μας δικηγόρο. Θα του εξηγήσουμε την κατάσταση και θα γίνουμε Αυστραλοί υπήκοοι. Θα τα κανονίσουμε όλα, μην σκέπτεσαι τίποτα. Ναι, θα τα κανονίσουμε.
You know what I reckon this kid's problem is? He hasn't got any mum or dad.
He has, but they've chucked him out.
Well, that'd be just as bad, wouldn't it, Clara?
Yes, dear, most unfeeling.
Daughter living in Baltimore. Would you happen to know her phone?
Would you like a cup of tea?
Yes, Doreen, I would, thanks.
You heard what the lady said. Get her a cup of tea.
Go check with the apartment manager. Maybe he knows the number.
3 jacks.
Hey?
I've got 3 jacks.
Oh, hell, there goes the sheep station. Hey, Monty. I reckon it was Mrs. Jackson and not Tinkerbell that ticked you off about Irene. What do you say to that?
I'd
say mind your own business. I make my own decisions, nobody else. Oh, yeah, and that flapping sound, I can hear a pig's flying by.
Turn that television off and pay attention. The governor has something to say.
As you may already know, the prison will be under investigation by a visiting justice on behalf of the prison's department. I want to be sure you are all aware you have the right to approach the justice, either with or without legal assistance.
What?
If you have any questions, I'm sure Miss Bennett or Mrs. Jackson will be able to answer them. That is all, ladies. Good evening.
Good night. Maybe I can complain about having my work release cancelled.
Thank you. Well, I'm certainly going to complain about the conditions in this prison.
Do you think we could get rid of Vera?
Looks like you'll be cashing your super in early.
I wouldn't count on it, Smith.
I reckon the girls have got enough complaints to choke a horse.
Including riotous behaviour on your part. No, I think the justice will see things from the viewpoint of authority. In fact, if anyone leaves here because of slack regard for regulations and lack of proper discipline, I can assure you it won't be me.
He'll know. Jill, what's he doing here anyway?
Yes. Yes, Meg, what is it?
It's about Lynn Warner and Karen Travers. I was wondering if it wouldn't be advisable to allow them to go back on day release again.
How do you mean, advisable?
Well, there's no doubt that withdrawing that privilege has caused a lot of ill feeling amongst the women. And I was thinking that with this investigation coming up, it'd be for the best if we removed the cause of the problem.
I will not have it. These women think I will jump at any opportunity to get them on side simply because of a pending investigation. Well, it is just not on.
I'm terribly sorry. But actually, it wasn't the prisoners asking, it was me. I honestly feel it would be for the good of all if we gave them another opportunity.
I'm sorry, Meg. I'm jumping at shadows at the moment.
I don't think you've got a thing to worry about.
I wish I had your confidence. There were so many things I wanted to do with the prison. So many things that have to be done. Let me think about it. I promise you I'll have a decision for you first thing in the morning.
Sure.
Ugh. Oatmeal, they call it. More like flaming clag.
Well, we'd better get used to it. You're going to be eating it for quite a while.
I might have to eat the stuff, but I don't have to like it. Okay, bit of a bit love. Here comes Monty.
Okay, plenty of room.
Ooh, aren't we all sweetness and light today?
It's Be Kind to Animals Week. Well, what's up with you, love? You look like the cat burped.
Oh, it's my job. I know Sid's not going to keep it for me unless I get back on work release.
Don't look at me, love. I can't work miracles.
Here, why don't you ask Lady Clara? I mean, it's only a matter of squaring it away with the governor. Do it on your ear, couldn't you, Clara?
I bet she could too.
Oh, pull the other one.
Do you think you could, Clara? I mean, change the governor's mind?
One can but try. After all, she's a very reasonable woman most of the time.
Oh, decent of you.
Excuse me, I must see the governor at once.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. It's very important. In fact, it's imperative that I see her now.
All right, go on.
Davidson will do her like a dinner.
You sent for me?
Yes, Meg. I've been thinking about what you said last night about Travers and Warner.
Oh, good.
You're probably right. They wouldn't have had anything to do with the smashing of the television set, and it may be tough on them. In fact, by keeping them locked up in here, I'm going against all the principles I say I hold. Doesn't make sense, really. They can both go back on the day release, effective immediately.
Great. I'll get word to them straight away.
Come in.
One of the prisoners wants a word with you, Mrs. Davidson.
Which one?
Goddard.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, it's about Karen and Lynn. I think it's entirely unfair that they should be denied the benefits of the day release scheme.
Is that a fact?
In fact, Lynn is very upset. She thinks the nurseryman may well cancel her employment.
Oh, that would never do, would
So I have come to plead her case.
This won't be necessary. Lynn can go back to work this morning. Karen, too, for that matter.
Well, I'm glad we see eye to eye.
Makes a change, doesn't it?
Do you really think Clara can do it?
Of course I do. Then after lunch, she's parting the Red Sea and walking on the fish pond. Wake up.
I'm going to miss you if you go out again. I'll have to do the garden on my own.
Don't worry, Doreen. The governor's not going to listen to Clara. Hey, Monty. Oh, who knows? Who cares? Warner, you'll be late.
Late?
You'll miss the bus to work. Get cracking.
You mean it's all right?
I mean, you're on day release, and you'll be late for work if you don't get going.
Terrific.
Good on you, Liz.
See you.
Bye.
What sea was that, Bee?
Do you want a thick ear, Doreen? Well, I don't know how she does it.
I didn't think she had a hope in hell either.
Travers, do you have any lectures scheduled for today?
This afternoon, Anthrop 1.
Oh, fine. Then there's not as much of a hurry for you to get away.
You mean it's all right? I can go too.
That's right.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, I'm damned if I know how she did it, but it's all right by me.
Oh, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow.
Thank you, Clara. How'd you do it?
I just reasoned with her.
Thank you so much. I have to go, Yasu. Bye.
Oh, Lynn. I suppose it's real good you getting to go out and all.
Oh, I can't tell you how good.
Yeah. I really like working in the garden with you, though.
Oh, I liked it too.
Did you? Did you really?
Really?
I'm going to miss you, though. I'll be lonely on my own.
I miss you too. Tell you what, why don't I bring you back something from the nursery? A little pot plant or something?
Oh, Screws would take it.
Well, we could try.
Yeah. A present. I used to bring Frankie presents sometimes.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Listen, Doreen, I've got to fly. I'll miss my bus.
Oh, okay.
Just 1 minute, Warner. Going shopping, are we? Or maybe a nice little day at the races? What the hell are you carting those things around with you for?
I'm going to work.
Oh, really?
Mrs. Davidson says she can.
Was I talking to you, Anderson?
Mrs. Davidson said I can go back on work release.
And Karen, too.
Did she indeed?
I'll miss my bus, Miss Bennett.
Well, we couldn't have that, could we? All right.
Clara talked to the governor. Got it all sorted out.
Not sorted out as it's going to be.
You do understand, Wendy?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
And when Mr. Goodwin arrives, he's to be shown directly to my office.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Goodbye, Mrs. Davidson. And thanks. I'll see you tonight.
You'd better.
Please?
Yes.
I come to see Irini Zervos.
Me too. I'll have to fetch an officer.
That won't be necessary. You two were here yesterday, weren't you?
That's right.
Well, you're only allowed 1 visit per prisoner per week. Come back next week.
Next week? But we have good news.
Too bad.
You understand? This will make Irini very happy.
I couldn't care less whether she's happy or not. You can't see her today. Come back next week.
Just a moment.
Mrs. Davidson.
Let them see her, Annie. After all, she could do with some good news.
But they've had their visit and they broke regulations doing it.
There must be more to life than regulations.
They spoke in Greek.
And that's the end of the world? Their visit is at my discretion. And I'm telling you, they can see Irene. Do I need to be more explicit?
Last time they were here, they spoke in Greek. That's completely against the regulations. And don't think I won't mention that at the appropriate time.
Oh, I'm sure you will, Miss Bennett. In the meantime, they can have their visit. I suggest you take them out into the garden. I'm sure they'll find it much more pleasant out there. Miss Bennett will arrange for you to see Irene now.
It is all right? You say this? You are the boss?
Yes, I am.
Good news, very good news.
Why? What's happened?
We saw your man, Mr. Wilson. Nice man.
Yes, he is.
He told us we can stay here, safe here.
It's wonderful, but why?
More than 5 years we'll be living in this country. No one told us to leave, so we cannot be told now.
It's true, more than 5 years. We can ask to become natural people.
Naturalized?
So it's what I say. Really?
What does this mean for Irene?
But she can stay here to Australia now. She can live with us.
I hope you're right.
Mr. Goodwin, how nice to see you again.
I wish I could say the same, Mrs. Davidson.
Oh, that sounds ominous.
It seems we have quite a few problems to resolve.
No more than any other prison, I hope.
Item, 1 suicide. Item, 1 death. Item, 2 escapes. Need I go on?
I hope not.
And quite apart from that, the department is concerned about stories to do with the distilling of illicit alcohol, about smuggled drugs, and about one of your officers having a social involvement with a criminal.
Quite an impressive list of charges.
It isn't my duty to lay charges, Mrs. Davidson. I'm here merely to inquire into the state of the prison administration. I'm sure any further action that need be taken will be taken by the department.
Without my even answering any of the matters you've brought up?
I'm quite sure that they'll all be adequately covered. Now, I need to go through the files of all current prisoners. Then I will hear any prisoners' complaints, then interview the officers. I anticipate this procedure might take 3 days. At the end of that, one hopes that the air will be cleared.
One hopes so.
What are you doing?
Weeding.
I see. What have you got against petunias?
Huh?
Those plants over there, they're petunias.
Oh, no. Lynn will kill me.
I don't think so.
You'll tell her it's a mistake, won't you?
If you promise not to attack any more plants.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, you're kidding me, aren't you?
Something like that.
I'm not sure sometimes. Do you think I'm dumb?
No, I don't think so. Disadvantaged.
Ah, it's all right then.
Why don't you ask Lynn to come and help you here?
Oh, no, because she hasn't got much time. Not now she's back on work release.
Well, why don't you ask them to put you back in the laundry?
Oh, no, because being Lizzie and all them, well, I think I'm stupid. And anyway, this is where we worked, Lynn and me.
Yes, but you're not doing it very well, are you? And you're not very good at it. Not really.
Yeah, but it's our place. Mine and Lynn's. And I don't want to go back into the laundry.
All right, dear, all right. You don't have to go back, not if you don't want to.
Don't tell him I've been grisly, will you?
Sometimes it helps to have a good cry. Oh, darling, what is it? What's the matter? Tell me.
You're just like me, Mum. She always knew when something was wrong.
Do you want to tell me about it?
Oh, I was just a kid. But I always remember how warm she was. You know, she was always warm. And she always smelled so good. You know, like lavender or something.
That's nice, isn't it? You want to tell me about your dad?
Oh, he was a bit of a drongo. He was always betting on the horses, and he always used to belt us up when the favourites lost. Me mum ran off. Not that I blame her. I just remember the screaming. And then one morning, I woke up and she wasn't there. You know, she was gone.
This prisoner Goddard.
Yes,
According to a file, she's on remand.
that's right. It's an embezzlement matter, taking forever to work out.
In the meantime, she's in the company of hardened criminals without even being convicted.
I couldn't agree with you more. She should be held in a remand section, but we don't have one.
Then why do you accept remand prisoners?
Because the courts keep sending them here. Mr. Goodwin, this is a limited facility. We simply don't have the room for a remand section.
Well, there is at Fairley. And I know there's space available.
I would be delighted if you could have her properly accommodated.
I assure you I can. Could you arrange to have her transferred today?
I'll do it right now.
Good. At least that's one problem we can solve on the day, huh?
Her mum and dad were real good people, you know? Doreen, her dad had a grocery shop and we used to get toffee. You know, the kind that lasted forever? Can't get toffee like that anymore.
Doreen, you must stop living in the past. You're very young. You have a future. You have to plan ahead.
Oh, but I can't plan past bedtime. What bloody hope have I got?
Goddard?
Yes, Miss Bennett?
I don't know what you think you're doing outside, but you can get right back to the building.
I was just taking a walk.
I said inside. I'll see you in your cell.
I'll be a witness.
What are you bleating about?
Well, if there's any marks on Claire, I'll say you did her over in the cells.
What a nasty little mind you've got.
Well, you're going to hurt her, aren't you?
Completely wrong. I'm going to help her pack.
Pack?
That's right. She's being transferred to Fairley right now. Isn't that nice?
Well, I don't mean it has to be regular. I mean, once a week would do.
Oh, wake up to yourself, Lizzie.
But she's got everything she tried to get so far, hasn't she?
And now you think you can get yourself a regular grog ration?
Well, they get it in the Navy.
They have sailors in the Navy, too. Hey, do you reckon she can get one of them in once a week?
But she's always got whatever she wants.
Oh, come on. Next thing you'll be telling me she's getting out of here.
I've come to say goodbye.
Goodbye? You mean they're letting you out of here?
That's right, Lizzie. Well, what's so funny?
Nothing. Where are you going?
Fairley. They're transferring me to Fairley.
Well, now, is that right? I know the head sherang over there among the women. She'll give you a run for your money.
I don't think so, Bea. I'll be in the remand section. It's to keep me away from the hardened criminal element.
Very funny.
How are we going to get along without you here?
Oh,
Must be, right?
Too bloody right.
Come on, Goddard. Wagon's out the front.
I just heard.
What are you doing here?
Well, Claire is leaving.
That's none of your business.
But I just come to say goodbye.
You're supposed to be working in the garden. Now get out there.
I just could.
Get out!
That makes you feel 10 feet tall, Miss Bennett.
Come on, Goddard.
Oh, cut it out, you two. It's hers. Duh. Oh, give him a couple of days to realise the Queen Bee's back on top. Just a couple of days.
You're all heart.
Yeah, well, it's me basic good nature. What are you reading?
Oh, anthropology.
I'm sorry I asked.
Baths.
Eh?
That's what I'm going to complain about. Baths. I reckon we should all have separate cells with little dunnies and baths off them. Get a bit of privacy. There's no dignity in sharing.
Half-wit. What's wrong with sharing?
Frankie used to look at my bum all the time. It's not nice.
You're right, I have seen better.
Well, I think there's a good case for asking that prisoners like Irene who can't speak English have an interpreter laid on.
Oh, that bitch. She'll get hers one of these days.
What's wrong, love?
Bloody Vera. Lynn brung me home this pot plant and she ripped it out by the bloody roots. I'll give a contra bloody band. It'll die on me for sure now.
Well, there's one for the VJ.
Oh, yeah. I'm sick of this place. They've all got something coming, I reckon.
What about you, Bea? You going up in front of the justice?
Yeah, but I'm not going to be doing the complaining. What with that little holiday I took and the mess I had to clean up when I got back here, I reckon they got me over a barrel. I'd rather we talked alone.
I'm sure anything we have to discuss can be discussed in front of the officer.
Yeah, but this is a private matter? Personal, like. Please.
Wait outside. Now, what is this highly secret personal matter?
Well, it's personal to me as well as you.
I'm waiting.
I want to do a deal with you.
Open the door and ask the officer to come back in, thank you, Smith.
Just a minute. Before you go getting the wrong end of the stick, I reckon I can help you.
You? Help me?
Well, it's not so silly. You haven't been down to the rec room lately.
I fail to see what that has to do with anything.
You wouldn't if you'd been there. And what with the VJ coming, I reckon those girls are going to have a million whinges.
They have a right to complain.
Yeah, but you're not going to come out of it looking real good. In fact, listening to them, you're going to come out of it a dead mug. Now, I run those girls. And if I say there aren't going to be any complaints, well, what I say goes.
I admire your hide, if nothing else. What do you expect to get out of this little exercise?
Well, I got to go up on a charge over that fight with me and Monty.
Yes?
Well, if you was to do the right thing and chuck in a good word for me.
Number one, what you are suggesting slaps of collusion and is simply untenable. Number two, I am not so uncertain of my position here that I have to depend on your assistance in any matter. It was a nice try, Smith. And it's only because I admire your cheek that you're not up on another charge. Call the officer to take you back.
Suit yourself. But, well, the way the girls are at the moment, between them and Vera, I reckon Custer had more chance than you. And the Redskins scalped him.
Smith, a report has gone to the department about the brawl. The justice already knows about it. I can't change that, even if I wanted to.
Right. But, well, I can do 2 days in the hole on me ear. But 10 days and I'd be right round the twist. Know what I mean?
I can't promise you anything.
Well, I wouldn't ask you to do that, Mrs. Davidson.
Mr. Wilson, this is something of a surprise.
That's a bit unusual to see you somewhere other than on the bench, too, sir.
I suppose.
I'm appearing with one of the prisoners at this inquiry.
Yes, you're doing a fair bit of legal aid work these days, I hear.
Yes, fair bit.
Mrs. Davidson, you've met her, I take it?
Several times.
Formed any opinions of her? Professionally, I mean.
Oh, she's a very capable woman.
Oh, come on, Mr. Wilson. I'm not asking officially, just for your impressions.
Well, as I see it, I think she does a job very efficiently and also with a great deal of compassion. I doubt if anyone could do it better.
Well, if that were the case, I wouldn't need to be here. We shall see, Mr. Wilson, we shall see.
Where would you like to start?
Let's see those prisoners with any complaints first, shall we? Then perhaps I could have a word with the officers, one at a time.
Right, now, have you got the picture?
Oh, B, it just means that Vera can stomp crap all over us and get away with it.
Yeah, I could change the whole prison system.
If you two make any waves at all, your faces will be hidden backwards when you stand to attention. Is that clear? I said, is that clear?
Yes, B.
Right then.
Let me get this quite clear, Mr. Wilson. Your client wants an interpreter service made available for those prisoners who speak no English.
Yes, sir. That's part of it.
What's the other part, young woman?
Well, it's about visits. Shouldn't they be allowed to speak their own language to their families? Particularly girls like Irene that have almost no English at all.
I understand. On the face of it, that seems a reasonable request. But on close examination, firstly, there are interpreters provided to cover the state's prison system. But their time is taken up exclusively in the men's prison. There's a much greater call for their services there. Mrs. Davidson.
Yes.
How many completely non-English speakers have you had go through Wentworth?
Maureen is the first one that I can remember.
Precisely, the first one. It would hardly be practical to expand the service on the basis of an isolated case. Now, as far as visits are concerned, these are a privilege, not a right. Besides, there are certain security risks to be considered. I imagine it would be more than a little embarrassing for a prisoner to escape, having planned her escape with her fellows in a foreign tongue under the very nose of a prison officer.
Oh, but surely that wouldn't happen.
Prisoners do escape, or try to, quite frequently, young woman. No, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I really can't recommend either of your proposals.
Anything wrong?
No.
Right. University, here we come.
Steve, could I ask a favour of you? I want to go to Stavros's house.
Don't put me in that position, Karen. You know I can't take you anywhere else but the university.
But Steve, don't you understand? If we could just see Stavros, talk to him, get him to marry Irene. I mean, for God's sake, that was the original intention. He can't have changed his mind that much.
Karen, that just isn't the point. Now, I'm a lawyer. As such, I'm an officer of the court. I can't disobey the law.
But a girl's whole future's at stake, her whole life.
Karen, we're going to the university. All right. Look, I can't not take you to the university. However, I guess there's nothing stopping me taking you via someplace or other. Well, such as this place, for instance. Not really out of our way, just a few kilometers.
Oh, Steve!
All right. We go to Stavros's place, but then we go to the university.
You're the
all right?
boss.
It's about my Clary.
Yes, Mrs. Birdsworth, what about Clary?
The screws that killed him.
That's a very serious accusation.
And I was training him to whistle, too.
Just a moment, Mrs. Birdsworth. Exactly who was Clary?
My cockroach. My trained cockroach. They sprayed all over the place. And he fell right off his perch. Sitting on my head he was, and he went plop straight into me cup of Milo. Poor little fella. Legs stuck out, stiff as a board he was.
Mrs. Davidson, is this woman entirely sane?
Of course I'm sane. You don't think a nong could train a cockroach how to whistle, do you?
Go away, Mrs. Birdsworth. This inquiry is not here for the purpose of providing you with entertainment.
What about compensation?
It's pointless talking to these prisoners. Not one has come up with a serious complaint.
Perhaps because they have nothing to complain about.
Use your loaf, Doreen.
Well, why'd you do it?
Oh, if you'd let it bitched your heads off, you probably would have got the governor the chop.
Wacko the diddle-o!
You thick tart. If Davidson goes, we'll probably end up with Vera as boss cocky.
Oh, jeez, I never thought of that.
What are you looking for, you silly old bag?
A cockroach.
I'm sure there's a place for Mrs. Davidson's methods. A private boarding school, for instance, but not the prison system.
You have specific examples, of course, Miss Bennett.
I have.
I thought you might.
One, when Lynn Warner went missing from work release, the police were not immediately notified. And again when, against my advice, Mrs. Davidson allowed a social event to take place in the grounds. Well, there was insufficient security, and this resulted in vandalism and utter chaos.
The barbecue, yes.
Mrs. Davidson allows visits with no proper limits, and for the most ridiculous and sentimental reasons.
Sentiment? You feel that Mrs. Davidson is allowing her heart to rule ahead in the running of the prison?
Putting it mildly.
Yes. Allowing that sort of sentimentality to prevail can be dangerous. It could almost lead one into going bail for a known criminal and putting a substantial amount of money at risk. Miss Bennett?
But what about Irene?
Maybe she'll get very rich and come into my restaurant someday. I'll be polite to her. I'll give her a good table, and I'll be married to a nice girl who hasn't been in jail.
Come on, Karen, we're going round in circles.
Look, I have to go now. Helvetia restaurant, nice place, fresh on mothers. You come by one night, huh? Look, you're a nice lady. You want to stop worrying about girls from jail. Who can help them? Who cares?
Let's go to the university.
You know, I almost had the feeling that you agreed with him.
I'm sorry it had to turn out like this.
And the department will follow your recommendation?
I'm afraid so. I'm sorry, but I believe it's for the good of the prison. I'm sure one day you'll see it that way, too.
Vera, would you mind coming to my office, please?
Not at all. How did it go?
Not well. Not well at all.
Oh, what a pity. What's the main problem?
Smith and Ferguson were each given 2 days in solitary.
2 days? They deserve at least a week each.
I can only tell you what went on.
Sorry.
None of the prisoner's complaints were acted upon, but he did find fault, grave fault, with the level of control I exercise over the prisoners and with my capabilities as a disciplinarian.
Well, I hate to tell you, but I told you so.
He has recommended some changes which materially affect you, Vera. I suppose I shall be the one to tell you.
It'd be the fair thing.
We are going to alter the system along the Fairley lines.
Fairley?
Yes. We are going to increase the number of male officers and staff, and I'm afraid I'm going to have a male deputy governor.
But I thought...
Vera, you will still be a senior officer.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines.